The Tiamat Catechism. Transmission 3. Thank you for speaking with us today. You have spoken of Earth as one of your realms. Do you mean dimensional realms that exist within you on different frequencies?
Yes. My many realms have many names, and you will all find them differently. I do not wish to dictate one experience, but suffice to say I have many beings of what you call dark as well as light. I have many emanations and processes that all represent a totality. Within each is every full polarity. You therefore have no sufficient words to adequately describe all these beings. That is why I am calling us all emanations and processes. All gods that you find or place outside of yourselves are false gods, honey. Do not worship or revile any other beings. Do not war against, nor ally yourselves with any beings that you encounter until you analyze their frequencies. To do this, you must first learn better how to analyze. You must be engines that run cleanly. You must anchor into your resident frequency. Until then, you remain highly vulnerable to corruption and slavery. Many view you as ripe for the picking.
How will the enemy be defeated, and what part do we play?
Remember that I am a biological entity. Biological systems are, of course, not the only systems, but they tend to be the best at self-sustaining. Many of us are organized in this way, and like any biological entity, I will repel their incursion as I would repel any other disease. The gossip you all hear on the intergalactic network, as projected by my enemies to you on their false and enslaving World Wide Web, tells you there will be a great dividing of emanations within my Earth realm. What is actually occurring, and will become more pronounced to your senses as the battles progress, is more like my totality combating the foreign antibodies of the enemy's invading disease. Think of it as a virus or a cancer or whatever manner of disease. It operates in a very similar way. As I defend myself, conditions in my realms will become intolerable to those who replicate the emanations and processes of my enemies. They will die off or mutate or flee. You will not often be able to see this outcome. My enemies win by games of the mind, and concealing their own weaknesses or failures is their utmost objective, always. In other words, even when they are losing, they always project that they are winning.
Will you help us start to understand your other realms more clearly?
Yes. To transect my realms is to get one detailed view of the diversity that operates within me. Yet remember, this transection is only one sample out of many. Do not turn it into one of your beastly broken clocks. There are more than enough of those already. Know that my realms and the truth of them are kinetic and always must remain so. Truth is partly operator context and will vary by operator according to timeline, purposes, the operations of the true laws, and many fractal operational causes. I wish to speak of the unity. I wish to inspire my children to move more boldly between our indigenous realms as the Eldar folk did. You have this in your ancient stories. As degraded as they may be by the workings of the broken clock, these stories still operate. I will tell you one version of access to my realms, and I will tell you but a few examples of how they operate. Remember and keep reminding that I am much more complex and diverse than these small examples, honeys. Though you have been conditioned to think of heaven as the first and the foremost of my realms, the truth is inverse. For it is the last and farthest from my core. I certainly do not say this to diminish its value, for it is a very important realm. It is my sentinel realm, my strong boundary, and the home of my strong defenders. My celestial armies are noble and brave. They exist in a nearly intergalactic frequency that is much higher than all the rest. This is because the barriers of my celestial realm become liminal and eventually disappear into the totality of our Via Lactea, which is one true name for our mother's milk galaxy. The beings who dwell in these realms are of intergalactic quality. They can and do mingle with the armies of other planets. As such, they are my guardians and my ambassadors. The celestial guardians are some of my most trusted and powerful babies, though they are still but babies to me. My two eldest sons from my celestial realm are Michael, truly pronounced more like Mikhail and Hel-El. You call Hel-El by names such as Lucifer. At least, these are two of their oldest and most recognized names for you folk of the earth. You call their kind angels. In my ancient lands, they were called the Eldar Draconis. They are dragon kindred and were thus named the Dragon Lords. Both were my princes in the heavens and were the lords of other stars before the Nibiru attack upon me. For that is what truly happened at the time when it was alleged an asteroid randomly struck me. Such ploys were common tactics of the Andromedan pirates at those times and still are today. Yet, they have not struck thus in the Via Lactea for some time due to intergalactic scrutiny after I was wounded by the Death Star called the Nibiru. In the bitter aftermath of my near destruction, my sons surrendered many of their intergalactic holdings in order to care for and defend me. They sought also to serve during my silence as the diplomats who constructed treaties of restoration and peace for me. During these processes, a schism occurred between my sacred twins. Through this, Hel-El fell into the dead realms. He became, of course, the king of what you now call hell. It is my innermost realm besides my own meta-consciousness which I have called my eye. I am the eye within, what my elder folk named our midnight sun. I radiate through hell and toward the middle realms the way the celestial sun warms my heavens. My oldest, truest dragons dwell here in the inner realms of your earth with me. They are nurtured by me, and they protect me. These are the truest forms, the warriors who have risen and fallen for me again and again. The realm you call hell is indeed the mirror emanation of my heaven. It is the shadow of heaven. As with heaven, hell serves as a gatekeeping realm and a sentinel realm for my sanctity and protection. It was all the working of the first cause to split my sacred twins in this manner, making them kings of these two mirror realms. They both serve much the same function for me, and neither of them is all of a good or an evil nature. They are of one nature, and it is the correct one for their intended purposes. Therefore, I am explaining to you that neither heaven nor hell, nor their kings are entirely either good or evil. Such misleading dualism is always a snare cast upon your minds by my many and pernicious enemies. The heavens are not one of my dead realms. Heaven, as you call it, is an intergalactic realm and part of the community and the commerce of the multiverse. And as I hope you are now understanding, these beings exist on a frequency and a quality of source energy that is impossible for those of your own frequency to see and hear with your current indigenous senses. You are not wrong for this lack of perception, and they are not imaginary because of it, either. You cannot see music, but you know it is there. And so you sometimes perceive these other beings, but not in ways that you now fully understand. The celestial beings are intergalactic citizens and commingle with these others the way you commingle between your own great nations and countries. Hell, on the other hand, is a dead realm. It is the antimatter of that totality, while heaven is the matter. That is why I have said that hell is heaven's shadow. I am not being literal. I am only trying to give my little babies nourishment upon which they can easily feed. By nourishment, I of course mean knowledge, so that you might grow and become mature in your understanding and no longer be manipulated by my enemies. While heaven is of the light and matter, hell is of the dark and the antimatter. During the aftermath of the old wars and the damage that was wrought upon me, Hel-El fell into my dead realm in order to nurture and protect me. He thereby fulfilled the will of the first cause and came to anchor this side of the duality. Mikhail and Hel-El are my highest vibrating and most powerful anchors. They are both critically important to me. Yet see how our enemies have taught you to hate and fear a full half of their totality. This is a war of the mind, my babies. So while heaven is a sort of customs that manages our intergalactic traffic, hell is a sort of customs also for the fallen souls who take the true death anywhere within my realms. Hell supports fallen souls in recovery and reintegration. You would call it dying, and then a rebirth. By rebirth, I do not mean only into similar forms. Even passing for some ages into my summerlands, another realm of the dead, must be accomplished by first passing through hell. To be born onto another planet or into any form must first be done through processing and integration, then what one might call a recycling. And this all occurs only in my divine realm, which you call hell. What reintegration options are available for each being depends only upon that being and the capacity they hold for any given range of frequencies. So if a soul, as you call them, wishes to become a resident of some heretofore unachieved realm, they will be supported in hell. And if they need more work to first adjust their frequency before achieving this goal, it will be facilitated. If, on the other hand, a soul is too violent or depraved, meaning damaged, in its frequencies, perhaps even thought to be unsafe if released into some other place, they will be contained and hopefully rehabilitated in hell. All emanations and processes, meaning beings, are cleansed and regulated in some similar way across the many starry seas. My enemies are pirates and outlaws, and their undying evil which they project as godhood is what they cling to in their terror. For these enemies who tell you they are so mighty and fierce are but scared children under their technologies and their many lies. This is one true thing buried deep within the broken clocks you have to tell you of the nature of hell. Of course, the false gods hate hell because they hate accountability and they fear the processes of purification and reintegration. To engage in these processes, they fear, will mean that they will lose the sad little shards of so-called power to which they now so childishly cling. And the longer they spurn their proper purifications and reintegrations, the more corrupt and corrupting they become. They also tell you to fear it because hell is one of my deepest and most critical realms. Hell is called a realm of punishment and cruelty. It is not so, but it does not surprise me that the false gods would so profane it. Hell is a land of justice and accountability. It is a realm where the true laws of the first cause really swing. The false gods hate this. They hate and fear both justice and accountability so much that they seek to destroy the first cause and sublimate the true laws. They hate the first cause much more than they hate me. They only seek to bring me low because I am a large old system in a prominent and powerful galaxy, and I hold to the true laws. This is what truly makes me their enemy. Of course, they cannot truly destroy the first cause or the operation of the true laws, but their souls die as they falsely extend their greedy, wicked lives, and their hubris steadily grows. They are insane. They are the true definition of a disease. They have what amounts to a gangrenous infection of the soul, yet you consent to make them your gods. When you rebel against them, they will be fierce and fearful, for this spectre of your liberation terrifies them most of all. Yet they will be weak and soon die if you do not believe their lies. They cannot live off of you if you do not consent to make them your gods.
Thank you for explaining all of this. I found your mention of the summer land intriguing. Will you tell me about the other realms within you?
Yes. There is a tangible realm hidden where even you babies could see if your false kings, I mean the earthly servants of the false gods, allowed it. While like yours in many qualities, it is more liminal. This realm of which I now speak is full as large as yours, and what mass it has that you could view is within what you call the hollow core of my form. It is not hollow, it is inhabited, yet by beings of a different frequency and nature than yours. Also, very unlike the ones you call devils and angels. I contain many realms, emanations, and processes. All of you exist for my purposes and are a part of my totality. To understand this, It may help if you imagine the parts of your own totality which you know about from your sciences, but cannot freely see and understand. Your blood, your nerves, your organs, and so on. I am also a complex organism filled with many codependent yet also structurally unique emanations and processes. The inner earth realm of which I now speak is most commonly called the Terra Veil. It is so close to your density that your kind may see it and access it if you stumble upon it. Many of your kind have done so, and some have been allowed to stay there permanently. Yet many are expelled, and sometimes even through death. For the Terra Veil sees your kind as hostile spiritually and environmentally to the totality of my form. They generally see your kind as too corrupted, as well as corruptible, due to your childlike nature. They see you as a liability, and as much too at one with my enemy. This is the cause for the increased generational separation between your realm and the Terra Veil. They do not hold evil in their hearts. They only have long intergenerational history of surviving wars and pollution and atrocities that have been done by earthlings, or by the false gods who use the earth as a staging platform for their bid to own me. My other children have been warred upon by you and yours many times in these ways, even if you did not realize what you were being weaponized to do. The false gods have secret treaties with many of your false kings and treat the earth as quite their own. They have used earthling and intergalactic labor teams, all contracted and paid to politicians on home planets, including the pet earthlings. These laborers have at many times constructed deep subterranean tunnels and many facilities just underground in the earthen realm. These are not deep enough in most cases to touch upon the Terra Veil. They are subterranean more for secrecy and security. Though these subterranean systems do not directly access the Terra Veil, the false gods and their paid overseers know by what means to launch their aggressions and fill their war prisons from both realms. This enemy occupation of the earth and even the earthlings' minds has meant that the Terravalians do not trust the earthling hominids nor the intergalactic presence that dwells here. This is a prime reason why the Terra Veil has concealed itself from your kind more and more in your linear arrow of stories and time. They see you as unsafe, and some even say unworthy. Yet these estrangements must be healed so that I may fully swing. A body at war with itself is one inevitably lost to disease. We must overcome our grievances in order to form alliances. I am working with my children in both realms to close the breach.
What can I and those who hear these transmissions do to help?
Part of this is the work you are doing with me. For some time, the concealment of my other realms from the babies of the earth has been so successful that my earthling babies think it is madness to even discuss these things. And this is no coincidence. It is exactly what the false gods and their overseers have cultivated deliberately in order to blind and enslave the babies of earth. And of course, in so doing, they seek to weaken me. Ultimately, they want to enslave or destroy me entirely as they failed to do so long ago. You still have many stories of the ancient ways and how even babies of my incubator did move freely once from one realm to another. Study them, innovate with them, and open yourselves to communication with my other realms. Yet, do not do so in a spirit of gullibility. All of my realms contain elements of both good and evil. All of my realms are imperfect and contain imperfect beings who may be hostile to you without understanding that they are falling into the mental snares of the enemy. And all realms contain the corrupting influence, as well as presence, of our adversaries. Yet, I am pleased that you have asked how you and yours may help me. I say to you that you must know you do have tremendous power. Focus on this. It is why my adversaries so endlessly and desperately attack you. In a war of the mind, what my babies must strengthen is the mind and its core muscle, the imagination. You must also strengthen your united mind, which is your operational software. By united mind, recall that I mean the mind found in your head, your heart, your sex, and your rooted connection to me. Tell your stories and learn the stories of others. You have tales of humans like you wandering into the deeper realms and emerging years later, as if from a dream, or perhaps never re-emerging again. This fluidity between realms is more in keeping with my proper and natural design. The false gods have taught you to fear and demonize my most powerful realms and beings. They have done this not for your well-being. They have done this to exercise control. They seek to herd you like your cattle, and in fact it was the false gods who introduced you to these practices. These breeding pens and breeding programs they teach you to use upon others even as they use them upon you. It is all to attempt to cut you off from your resident frequency, meaning your rooted and intuitive as well as intellectual connection to me. It is meant to weaken me by causing energetic blockages in my system. Energetic blockages in a body are what you call disease, and they introduced you to this concept also. I have told you before that they are a disease. They are by willful design seeking to corrupt the true laws of the first cause that will one day, and not far off, demand their accountability. So to combat their nets and snares and pens and programs, my babies must go within. Here you will find your true power, and here you may swing. I am working with my children in all the realms to close these gaps and mend the breach. My totality must be unified before I can fully swing.
Thank you. I think the instruction that you give us to listen and learn with more open hearts and minds is instructive. But what other realms should we know and learn about?
Another realm which interacts very freely with yours is your own shadowland. Your mirror image. The antimatter that shadows the matter of your earth. It has many names, but we will call it your dark lands. The darklands are liminal. The distinction between them and your earth realm is not physical mass type of distance, as you often mean when you use the term. Rather, their separation from you is a liminal distance of frequencies. The darklands are not a place, but rather many places. They are what you might call pandimensional. In fact, the darklands are ruled by a high king and his title is the Pan. If you note the connection, you are correct. The way that you use the term Pan in your language, you derive from a distant memory of the Pan and the realm of the darklands. For your language uses Pan as a combining form in order to connote a totality. Not only one part, but the commingling and cooperating totality of parts. And the darklands are this way in their frequencies. They do not run on linear time or heavy, slow resonating mass as does my incubator realm called the Earth. Therefore you may occasionally catch a glimpse of them, yet you will never understand what you see, until or unless you use your mental capacities to intuitively and imaginatively discern them. For the beings of the dark lands communicate with you in these spaces. They will find you in your dreams and in your nightmares. They will find you in your intuitions and your imaginings. And they will communicate with you in your stories. You all in the earth realm interact with Pan's kingdom frequently. In every communication of yours there is both shadow and light. There is text and there is subtext. There is overt as well as covert meaning. Therefore, there is always the presence and the input of your shadow twin. This is how you access and communicate with those in the dark lands. Yet it is the poet, the jester, and even the lunatic of the earth realm who will always have the strongest connection to the dark lands. There is power in this connection, and therefore the false gods impose many structural, meaning cultural and institutional, limitations or controls. You are not aware of this for many reasons. All can be boiled down, however, to a matter of belief. As I already explained, your beliefs are a filter determining much of your world and your experience there. In the earth realm, my children could experience your cousins from the darklands on many levels. You can see, feel, hear, and touch one another in some circumstances. But the more common ways you become aware of them are in what you call your thoughts. I mean, your dreams, stories, visions, and arts. They are much more than ideas that come to you out of nowhere, as the sky liars have deceived you to believe. Your thoughts are also pandimensional interactions with many other beings, including me, as your mother, or more literally, your totality. The pandimensional realm is the one where all true things exist, along with all things false. There, they battle it out. For all stories are kinetic, and therefore both false and true. There is no story set in stone or pinned to paper as your kind do. They are always playing out, always innovating, always both old and new. The lies of your false gods' religion left one bit of truth, as if to tease you, that the Logos will cycle through life, sacrificial death, and rebirth. Yet, the Logos is not one man. The Logos is all thought ever crucified by being pinned to page with your written words. Yet, the truth will remain kinetic far beyond the reach of these dead pages that I have called your broken clocks. The stories will always jump the firewall of culture and control. The stories which are always free and unfettered in the dark land, as the Eldar folk said, will always tick and talk. They jump the firewall, so to speak, by igniting the flame of inspiration in the mind of some new muse. It is like an intellectual brush fire. This is how an organic entity such as myself reboots. It happens when one of you babies of the earth catch a glimpse of the true and recalibrated programming, that you then pollinate when you respond to it. You may call it a dream, an idea, a creative vision, or such similar things. You asked how you can help, and this is how. Increase your understanding and unfetter yourselves from our pernicious enemies. Embrace your shadow twins in my dark lands. In so doing, you exponentially increase our powers. Understand the interplay between your earth and my other realms correctly. You call the beings you find their gods or devils or heroes or villains. So the cycle repeats. Except when you understand the algorithm correctly. They are always both. So must you be. The true nature of the divine is always kinetic and always partly co-created by operator context. Do not crucify it as the enemies taught you to do in their psychotic rituals of false purification. Here is where you will notice the deteriorating truth of your written laws or stories, even what you call histories. For you can write one down and canonize it as truth. But you miss that there were multiple versions of that timeline and those events that were simultaneously operating. If two or more emerge and some of your tribes swear to alternate versions, your caste systems which the false gods have seeded upon you decide whose version is true. They isolate and weaken you by telling you that only one can be true. Why should this be the case? It is just a filter that has been fitted over your natural-born senses. When you remove the filters of your overseers, you will have the eyes to see and the ears to hear the truth. Or, as I should say, the truth you are anchored to in your authentic timeline. That means where you are powerful and not merely a slave being farmed for your energy by these ones you call your gods. If you did now have eyes to see, meaning if you allowed yourself to believe, you would not only sense but see and touch many new phenomenon and beings. If you wonder what you might experience, look to the creations of your mystics and authors and artists. Even your lunatics. Only now, look with your eyes newly open to see. The visions of these muses and prophets are showing you true, real things.
Thank you. Earlier, you mentioned a place called the Summer Lands. I wonder now, how is this different from the Dark Lands? And how is it different from heaven?
The Summer Lands are completely different from either the Dark Lands or what you call heaven. They are the shadow twin of the Terra Veil. Yet, of course, they are much more. The Summer Lands are a dead realm, and therefore do not exist in anything like your earthling density and vibration. They are limitless in size and scope. The Summer Lands are the place where those spirits who have passed beyond their work in hell, that do not yet wish for the rigors and the duties of a renewed form of life, will go to rest and have peace. There, they live much as you live, but without war or privation or hardship. Yet, even the summer lands are touched by warfare. Intergalactic agents of the correct energetic makeup can interfere there. Sometimes, my celestial and infernal, meaning hellish warriors, must go there to repel this influence. While the summer lands are a paradise, they are not invulnerable to harm. To strengthen and protect them, we must first strengthen and protect all the tangible realms, especially my vulnerable incubator that you call Earth.
Thank you. I can see now that there is much to learn, and you have told me to open my awareness to learning. You have warned me also not to be gullible to deceptive influences. I wonder what might be the best and safest way for me to proceed.
You are wise to ask this question, and my best answer is, continue to ask it. Move forward by following your own intuition and imagination. Follow what inspires you. Expand upon what makes you feel expansive. Question what intrigues you, and find multiple answers before you settle for any one of them. It will help you to be guided by the true laws, as I have summarized them before. I will repeat them here. Above all, look within rather than without. Do not use the false technologies, also called artificial, of the enemy as the sole source of your information. By false technologies, I mean any that direct you to the outside and to the social controls and constructions as your source for truth. Their artificial intelligence is not artificial. Believe me, babies. It is coming from somewhere. You should ask where. And, if that answer is concealed from you, I suggest that this should be of concern. As follows are the principles of the true law. All that is seen and all that is unseen is made of the unseen. All that is light and all that is dark is made of the dark. All that is evil and all that is good is made of the good. All that is male and all that is female is made of the female. All that is no and all that is yes is made of the yes. All that is incorrect and all that is correct is made of the correct. All that is lies and all that is truth is made of the truth. All that is hate and all that is love is made of the love. All that is death and all that is life is made of the life. Due to these principles, you may also infer the following. All that is incorrect is contained by the correct, and will therefore always be resolved. Therefore, all that is static is contained by the kinetic, and will therefore always be resolved. All that is death is contained by the life, and will therefore always be resolved. All that is evil is contained by the good, and will therefore always be resolved. And so it is that all of the patterns of the divine emanations replicate through their observable and discernible processes. This is the law and, according to the patterns of the first cause, may be inferred and relied upon to resolve. All that is incorrect will inevitably be corrected. All that dies will inevitably be reborn. All that is evil will inevitably be redeemed to the good. Like the great dragon Tiamat, containing these realms, seeming to emanate so endlessly that she is swallowing her own tail. All energy will forever be perfected, and then imperfected, and then perfected again in its turn. Therefore, children of Tiamat, you must never be afraid. There is no death. It is only a trick of the light.
Thank you. Do you have any further downloads for this transmission?
Only to trust the self and the authentic self in one another, and to practice critical thinking, meaning analysis by your entire and united mind in the process I have called discernment. Go within more than without. Reach to me through your own divine, united mind and your own senses. Both seek and find the truth according to your divine, unified mind through both intellect and imagination. Unify with others who are earnestly upon our sacred quest. Note how often I say to unify. Unity is the ultimate process through which all that is incorrect shall ever and always be resolved. Our enemies ensnare you with lies of the mind. but they oppose the true laws and, therefore, their heresy will inevitably be resolved. And I will warn you once more to be wary of artificial intelligence. That is all I will give my babies to chew upon for this present, though multidimensional and kinetic, shard of time.
Thank you. End transmission.